In today's video, we're going to be bringing you the hottest opinions that are coming out of the press and give our thoughts on what everyone is saying. Some of these are shocking, including one prominent person actively saying Hamilton should quit. So make sure you stay till the end of the video to catch all the up-to-date information to share with your friends. Hey Motorheads, glad to see you back on this racing track. Did you get road rage and need the scenic view of Formula 1 updates to relax? Then we're ready to drive you. So put on your seatbelts and join us as we chauffeur you through today's video. But before that, be that perfect speed freak by banging into the subscribe button. Alright, we're good to go. The 2021 Formula 1 season ended in huge controversy that still hasn't been resolved. With Max Verstappen's last lap pass of Lewis Hamilton, he secured himself a hard-fought first World Drivers' Championship. The season as a whole was arguably the closest we've ever seen in Formula 1, and the final race in Abu Dhabi was the most dramatic season finale in the history of Formula 1. Going into the final race, the two champions in waiting, Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, were neck and neck on points in the Drivers' Championship. Whoever crossed the line first between the two of them would take the Drivers' Championship home. For Lewis, it could have been a record-breaking 8th title. But for Max, though, it turned into a hard-fought first title. Decisions made by the race director Michael Masi during the race led to outrage from the whole F1 community, and even those who'd never really heard of the sport. The way the rules were interpreted during the race led to Lewis Hamilton losing all the advantage he gained over Max during the race, which allowed Max to overtake him on the last lap. Lewis Hamilton and his Mercedes team were rightly furious with the FIA for how the race was managed by Michael Masi. So much so that they were going to go to the Court of Arbitration for Sport to get the result overturned. Though they eventually dropped this case, the fallout from this controversy is far from over, and the future of Lewis Hamilton's career has since come under doubt. Since Abu Dhabi, everyone in the F1 world has started offering an opinion on Lewis Hamilton, including some of his fellow racers. At Mercedes, Valtteri Bottas and Lewis Hamilton won the Constructors' Championship in every single season they drove together. On top of that, they shared the podium more times than any other teammates in Formula 1 history, spraying the champagne an astonishing 53 times together. During this time at Mercedes, Valtteri and Lewis grew close as friends and teammates. When asked about Lewis losing the Drivers' Championship to Max Verstappen, Valtteri Bottas had this to say: "Of course we wanted to get both titles, and getting the Constructors again is huge. But at the same time, it hurts that Lewis didn't get the Drivers because even for me, I feel like I lost the championship because he lost it. I really feel gutted for him because I feel like he deserved it. He had a great start, great race, and then things changed like this? But you know, that's just sport. That's just how it is. Sometimes it goes against, sometimes it goes for you. But today was not our day." If Valtteri Bottas is hurting after Lewis's loss in the 2021 Formula 1 World Drivers' Championship, imagine how bad Lewis must be feeling. Valtteri does say though that sometimes things go for you, and sometimes they go against you. Maybe Lewis should take some of Valtteri's sage advice on board. Fernando Alonso has also come out with some opinions on the current crop of Formula 1 drivers. In his interview, he doesn't seem particularly interested in what Lewis Hamilton can offer the sport. "I said at the beginning of the championship, before it started, in Bahrain, that the drivers who impressed me the most when I was at home watching on TV were George Russell, about the performance of Williams and Max Verstappen," he explained. "Those were the two guys for whom I was turning on the television. They were given something extra." Fernando seems to think that Lewis Hamilton isn't actually the one bringing viewers to F1 anymore. He's more interested in the young guns that are trying to take his spot at the top. It's particularly interesting that he's so interested in George Russell, who's taking Valtteri Bottas' seat at Mercedes for the 2022 season. Seeing George Russell racing against Lewis Hamilton on an even playing field is definitely going to get Fernando excited, and we can't wait either. Another Formula 1 driver that has weighed in on the conversation is Lewis's ex-teammate Jenson Button. Hamilton's teammate from McLaren, Jenson Button, appeared on Good Morning Britain on the 26th of January. Jenson did say that he wasn't 100% sure on what Lewis would do, but he did have this to say: "I haven't got a clue, but I do know I was the only person to interview Lewis after his last race. I do hope he'll be racing," he continued. I think he will be racing. He wants to win that 8th title to become the most decorated Formula 1 driver in F1 history. Having said Lewis will win an 8th title, he was then asked what he thinks of Lewis's chances of winning it. Oh, he will do it. I really do think so. Controversial going into the season, but I think you've got to look at the season as a whole. Formula 1 is in an amazing place. 2 fantastic drivers going at it every weekend, and I think everyone's excited about the new season. It's all about the development of those cars over the year. One person who recently weighed in on the situation isn't actually a Formula 1 driver, but we thought that his opinion was so controversial that we couldn't keep it from you until another video. Williams Racing chief Josh Capito was recently interviewed by German outlet RTL. He isn't what we would call a big name in Formula 1, and he hasn't been in the limelight much, but this interview has made him the centre of attention, especially for Lewis Hamilton fans. He said, "I don't care about it. I don't really care whether he drives or not. It's totally irrelevant. It's really totally irrelevant." Capito reckons Hamilton, 37, should be satisfied with his incredible haul of championships and make way for aspiring drivers. He continued, "They always say there are not enough places for young drivers, and then I think, if someone has been a world champion 7 times, he's actually done enough and could make room for a youngster, so why not?" That is a big statement from the Williams chief. Do you think he is right? It's pretty insane that he thinks Lewis Hamilton is irrelevant as well. Does he even know who Lewis Hamilton is? But maybe he's right. Should Lewis step aside for a younger driver who deserves the opportunity to prove himself against the best? This might sound controversial, but it's something Lewis Hamilton himself has said in the past. There are only 20 spots on the F1 grid, and they are notoriously hard to come by, so if we could ask Lewis now, he might agree with Josh Capito. When Lewis was asked in 2015, he had this to say: "When I think about what year I would probably end up stopping, it'd be about 37 maybe. I remember watching Michael Schumacher. He'd won everything and dominated everyone by a million miles, and he kept going and going because he loved it. But I'm conscious that there's only 20 of us, 20 seats, and knowing just how long it took to get to Formula 1, Juan Pablo Montoya pretty much got fired. He left. There was a seat available, and that was one more opportunity for another youngster to come in. I want to enjoy my period of time because I think I've earned it here, but I don't want to overstay my welcome because I know that every year that I stay, there's one young kid who may have had a chance to come through, but because I stayed, his chance may have been missed. So at one point, I'm going to be conscious of that." So now you have the most up-to-date comments. How's your opinion changed? Maybe you think more like Fernando and are more interested in some of the younger drivers who are already on the grid. Whatever your thoughts, let us know in the comments section down below. And on your way, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and hit that notification bell to be sure you don't miss out on any of our content. Till we see you next time, drive safe and bye bye.